I spend a lot of time helping founders and physicians design their careers, helping them break into innovation, build new ventures, or take on leadership roles that they never thought were possible. But today I want to talk about something more personal, which is designing your actual life, not just your career path, not your next big role, but your time, your days, the systems that shape your energy, your family, and your impact. Because our time here is not infinite. I've spent the past few years getting really honest about how I want to use mine. And the truth is that most of us are living inside systems that we didn't consciously choose. We're operating on defaults, so career templates, family templates, lifestyle templates. We repeat patterns, not because they serve us, but because they're familiar. And then we wonder why something feels off even when it looks successful from the outside. So I don't want to live that way. I started asking, what do I want to be doing that I'm not doing? What am I doing that I no longer want to carry? And how do I actually want to spend my time? And what kind of life do I want my kids to see modeled, not just taught? And these questions have really shaped everything for me. So how I've structured my business, how I travel, how I parent, and most recently, how we're choosing to educate our children. This fall, we're making a shift that I would not have imagined just a few years or even weeks ago, but we have made the decision to homeschool. So I just want to be clear, our kids have really thrived in school. We have had incredible teachers, supportive communities, and really great experience overall. And we actually homeschooled for a while during COVID out of necessity, not by choice. But what surprised me was how much our kids remember that time with fondness. Not because of the circumstances, but because of the freedom and the pace and the space to explore. And recently they came to me completely unprompted and asked if we'd ever consider homeschooling again. And honestly, my first reaction was curiosity, not necessarily resistance, but I realized that I coach other people on how to design their lives and their careers, but I hadn't thought about applying that framework to my own children. So letting them be part of designing their days. So I gave them a challenge. I asked them to research alternative education pathways. I gave them the barrier that I cannot be your teacher and you can't be home all the time. But I told them to explore what might work and define what mattered to them. And we even built a custom GPT research assistant to help them synthesize their options. And what they brought back really surprised me in the best way. There was a local co-op that aligned with everything that we care about, which is small groups, a lot of nature and outdoor time, a lot of discussion, covers all the core academics except for math. It's only 2 to 3 days a week. And the rest of the time is open for deeper exploration and really designing with intention. And each of my 4 kids had a personal reason that it resonated, and it was very interesting to hear their perspectives about wanting to have more independent projects or more challenge or ownership of their learning. Or one of my kids has ADHD and just needs to run around all the time. And we do have an au pair who's been a teacher in the past who's going to help us on our at-home days. But suddenly what felt like a radical idea started to feel like a really obvious choice. It may not be super easy, but it felt right. We're also getting ready to take the kids on a trip to Europe. So we're spending 2 weeks to go across Scotland, London, and Paris. And we're going to visit my family's heritage. We come from the MacLean clan in northern Scotland. We will be visiting our family castle and walk through history and architecture and culture together and not just read about it, but really experience it. I never would have imagined we could do something like this. I used to think there's no way we could take extended time off, that I would always be employed or have an employer that had really strict guidelines on vacation time, but long trips and homeschooling or non-traditional paths were for other people with different lives. But now I know that those beliefs were never truth. They were just unchallenged defaults. And the more you sit with a question, what do I actually want my life to look like? The more creative and courageous your solutions can become. So I want to leave you with this. Maybe there's something in your life right now that no longer fits, a role or a habit or a system, or maybe there's something you've never let yourself dream about because it felt too far away. I'm not saying to change everything overnight, but I'm saying take 5 minutes today. I love my blank piece of paper worksheet. So I would say write it down, picture it, design it, write out your week, your month, your year, what it could look like if you designed it yourself instead of just going with the defaults, because you can't build the life that you want if you've never bothered to imagine it. And you don't have to wait for permission. The options are endless. And as soon as you start thinking about how you want to spend your time, the solutions and the opportunities will come to you.